thoughts. Another day, another condescending leftist telling you how to think, feel, and act. This time, it's Michelle Obama reminding the ladies that she knows what's best for us because apparently we're not smart enough or independent enough to form an original thought. Thanks, Michelle. So what tidbit of verbal diarrhea did she spew this time? Well, Mrs. Obama said, and I quote, "Any woman who voted against Hillary Clinton voted against their own voice." Really, Michelle? Or did we choose secure borders, personal responsibility, a strong military, tax reform, smaller government, Obamacare repeal, and economic growth? See, that's what I voted for. I didn't vote for an email deleting, influence selling, accountability lacking pantsuit of lies. You're dang right I voted against Hillary Clinton. And the fact Mrs. Obama thinks that makes me less of a woman tells you everything you need to know about the left. No, Michelle, as a woman, I did not want the first female president to be Hillary Clinton, and for good reason. I also didn't want another 4 years of your husband's failed legacy. Oh, and trust me, I didn't lose my voice. You're going to hear my voice loud and clear. How dare you diminish and degrade my vote? How dare you look down on Trump-supporting women? You know, contrary to the left's popular belief, you don't have to march in the streets with female genitalia on your head to have a voice. See, millions of women made a different march. A march into the voting booth to vote for our interests, our country, and Donald J. Trump. Those are my final thoughts, Michelle. I hope you heard my voice and you'll remember it next time you talk down to free-thinking, Trump-supporting, America-loving women.
Final point before we go tonight. It takes the most despicable kind of person to sit in the safety of her own home, surrounded by taxpayer-funded Secret Service agents, armed to the gills with firearms, willing to lay down their lives to protect her, to sit there and blame 5 million law-abiding, gun-owning members of the NRA for the mass shooting in Las Vegas. That woman today is Hillary Clinton. You know I'm not the type of broadcaster to hurl ad hominem attacks, and I'm not going to start doing that now. 58 people are dead. Over 500 others are wounded. But I will set the record straight when a politico so singularly obsessed with her own agenda stoops to the level of slandering millions of innocent law-abiding citizens for a gruesome act of mass murder. The crowd fled at the sound of gunshots, Hillary Clinton tweeted. Imagine the deaths if the shooter had a silencer, which the NRA wants to make easier to get. Well, if that isn't just freaking ignorant. Silencers don't actually silence guns. Not even close to silent. Have you ever actually learned about firearms? Because you are incredibly ill-informed, not to mention distasteful and disrespectful to make such an ignorant, politically charged comment at a time like this. Do you not care about the people who die just a little bit more than your own political aspirations? Our grief isn't enough, Hillary continued. We can and must put politics aside, stand up to the NRA, and work together to try to stop this from happening again. First of all, you can't say let's put politics aside and blame the NRA in the same sentence. That is, in and of itself, igniting divisive politics, which of course is what you do best. Second of all, we don't know yet what kind of weapon the attacker used. Speculating that it was a fully automatic weapon is just that. It's purely speculative. And the majority of people who are jumping to that conclusion aren't doing so because they're firearms experts who can identify the sounds of automatic gunfire, making an educated guess. No. They're talking about the weapon because they want to blame the weapon and not the murderer. That being said, it's worth noting that fully automatic weapons are already illegal, as is mass murder. Fully automatic weapons have been illegal since 1986. That's 31 years for you liberals who struggle with logic and math and clearly with history. Let me reiterate. We don't know what kind of weapon the attacker used. What we do know is he was evil, and he plotted and waged mass murder. And 58 people lost their lives because of his brutality and his cowardice and his utter disrespect for the sanctity and value of all human life. If he did use a fully automatic weapon, doesn't this just prove our point anyway? That even if you illegalize guns, bad guys who want to do bad things will get their hands on the guns anyway? Let me remind you again, murder is also illegal. And this man murdered 58 people in cold blood, our fellow countrymen. So let's you and I do what Hillary Clinton will not do. Let's not politicize this for our own gain. That's all I have to say about this topic tonight, because I won't disrespect the victims and their families by using them as pawns for political purposes. Instead, I invite you to pray with me for the victims who lost their lives, the families grieving the loss of their loved ones, the witnesses who escaped with their lives but who will never be the same, and for our nation. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. And that's my final point. You can reach me on Twitter at Liz_Wheeler. If you liked the show, please send me an email at oann.com/contact. In the meantime, catch us here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. And until then, have a good night.
One girl he did it to was 18 years old. Here to talk about this, Fox News contributors Tomi Lahren and Leslie Marshall. Tomi, I'll start with you. There's such hypocrisy here. Hillary, money from Sharia countries, all the money Weinstein gave to liberals, liberals ignoring the Clintons. As long as they have the right politics, they'll ignore all of Bill's sins of groping, fondling, touching, kissing. And in the case of Juanita Broderick, we know what she said. So there's such hypocrisy from them.
Well, of course it is, and I think it's important for us to understand that the left is not pro-woman. The left is anti-Trump, and there's a big difference, as evidenced by their radio silence this week. Now, of course, they come out, they tweet their disgust, and Hillary said she was appalled. Really, Hillary? Were you really appalled? Were you appalled by Bill, too, because you stayed with him? I don't believe any of this.
I want Hillary, Leslie, to give back the money that she took from Saudi Arabia and all these countries that oppress women, many that kill gays and lesbians, and that persecute Christians and Jews. Will you join me in calling for her to give back the money that she took from those countries that bought her silence?
You know what's interesting, Sean, is everybody on the right tells me Hillary should shut up.
You're not answering my question. I can hear it already.
Just remember that you lost. No, I don't think she has to give back money that was given to a campaign by these countries because, one, although it's horrific what happens to women in Saudi Arabia, there is progress with women's rights in Saudi Arabia.
Would you take
the right to drive,
money
the right to vote.
Would you take money from a country that tells women how to dress, women, you know, that can't travel abroad, that kills gays and lesbians, and you can't build a temple or a church? Would you take money from those people? That's a yes or no.
I wouldn't be able to take money from. I'm on a witness stand. I can only say yes or no.
That's right.
It would depend on the country. I couldn't take money from France, could I? Because of the burqa. So I don't think it's fair to ask that in that context. To be
really?
Honest.
Because they oppress women
I couldn't
systematically.
I couldn't take money from France.
You know, I almost sound like the liberal here, Tomi, because I'm saying I'm standing up for women. They're killing innocent people because of their sexual orientation, and they're persecuting people for religious reasons. And I'm saying that's blood money. Hillary, give it back. Where does Tomi Lahren stand?
Well, I think that she should give it back, but I don't expect it. I don't expect much from Hillary at this point. I mean, she's peddling her books at Costco talking about women's rights. She lectures us on a weekly basis about misogyny, and she gives us the definition on stage time and time and time again. But then her spokesperson sends out a tweet about Weinstein. She doesn't give the money back, or she's going to give to charity, or she's going to do something with it. Again, Hillary, if you want to be out of the spotlight, be out of the spotlight. If you want to be in the spotlight, be in the spotlight and denounce people like Harvey Weinstein. We'd like to see you do it, but she won't do that because she's pro-Hillary, she's pro-Democrat, she's pro-whatever lines her pockets and the rest of the DNC as well.
Yeah, I can't believe you won't say that they should give back that money, Leslie. I'll give you one last chance to redeem yourself.
She doesn't need to give back money. And why, by the way, if she has to give back money to these countries, Sean, in all fairness, male or female,
is she a hypocrite?
Democrat or Republican.
Is she a hypocrite?
Well, wait a minute. I don't feel she's a hypocrite at all. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. She is not the perpetrator
Elizabeth,
here. Allegedly, Harvey Weinstein is.
Beam me up, Scotty. More Hannity after this. Thank you both.
Before he started singing, they were chanting USA in the stands. They were. And everyone was watching to see what the Bears and Packers would do.
And saluting the flag as well. Tomi Lahren's on the couch this morning.
Great to be here.
Good to have you.
Thank you so much.
Good to have you as well. So what do you make of last night? You know, all eyes were going to be on the Packers-Bears game. And as it turns out, the Packers had asked their fans to everybody link arms for social justice and unity. But the fans said, you know, the team can do what they want to do. We're just simply going to cheer, put our hands on our heart, and sing the national anthem.
You don't mess with the Midwest. Someone that's from the Midwest, I can tell you that. You don't mess with our flag, you don't mess with our anthem, you don't mess with our patriotism. But beyond that, this whole we're going to link arms for solidarity. How about we put our hand over our heart for solidarity? Because that's really, in essence, what it means. So now we're gonna link arms. It's the same political statement, and fans are still going to be upset about it. They can pull whatever they want, they can pull whatever stunt they want and change it up. Same message, same disrespect.
We got about three. Go ahead.
I was going to say we had Brandon Tatum on the show earlier. If you'd not pulled up his video on YouTube, it now has, I think, 400,000 views. He's a police officer in Arizona, and he is fed up, as you can imagine, about the kneeling of the anthem, and it's something that you have to see. So we talked to him on the show this morning, and he talks about the NFL being the one that's divisive, not the president. Here's what he told us.
I think that the American people are wise enough to know that the true unity is when you put your hand over your heart. I don't think the president is being divisive. I think the fact that you take a knee on the flag is you're starting division right there. And I think the president is trying to bring things back around in full circle and say, okay, we need to realize what unity means, and we need to stand for the flag and not divide ourselves by disrespecting America to push an agenda.
When has a flag ever been controversial?
Now it is in 2017. Isn't that just sad, really? But going back to what he said, it's a slap in the face to our police officers, to our veterans, to our military. And I'm wondering those that are sticking up for this, especially the Democrats who seem to be coming out in force for the NFL, for these players. Is that their new agenda? Is anti-America, is that really the agenda they want to push? That's going to help them in 2018? Is that going to help them in 2020? I don't think so. But continue and see how the fans react.
The NFL really does not know what to do. They had a meeting yesterday, but nothing really came out of it in terms of a mandate. The word is the Giants owner has said, do me a favor. I want you to stand for the national anthem. I'm not making you. And there's a sense the Giants will. The Broncos have committed to stand. The Patriots have committed to stand. The Steelers out of the locker room. They'll all be standing on the sideline. Do you think that this is over now?
No, I don't. But you know what? I would tell those players that are kneeling that they don't seem to understand what that flag and that anthem mean. I would encourage them to go to a VFW, and I would encourage them to speak to some veterans and see what that flag means to them. And maybe they might feel a little bit differently about their little stunts if they would go and see it, that perspective, and what that flag means to others.
I know you talk a lot about politics, and now that you're here with us as a Fox News contributor, politically, is this a win for Donald Trump?
I think it is. You have to remember his America First message. That's what brought him into office. That's what brought so many Republicans on his coattails into office. So standing up for the anthem and the flag and America First, that is absolutely what his base wants. That's what I want. That's what Americans should want. They want a president that stands up for them, stands up for the country. Isn't it great?
Making the anthem great again.
Exactly.
Would we have had the same reaction, though, had he used different words to talk about it when he called them SOBs and he used the language that we often hear from the president? Look, that's his style. That is the man that was elected into office. But many people say, look, he should have talked about, he has the winning side of this argument, but maybe he should have talked about it a little bit differently.
You know, I understand that, but it's Donald Trump. You're not going to change him. And I think that that's the way that most folks in the Midwest, they feel. They use those words, they use that language. That's how they connect with each other. That's how they're connecting with this president. Whereas some people might not like the words he uses. I get so tired of this. Well, I wish he wouldn't tweet this. I wish he wouldn't say that. My goodness, if that's your biggest problem with the president, I'm okay.
Also, you can't take expletives literally. People are they're breaking it down by the essence of the word. Most expletives are impossible to actually fulfill. Yeah. Meanwhile, let's talk about this. The war on history in general. Do you think this plays into it between statues, between monuments, between what's happening on college campuses? Do you think that's part of this pushback on about America?
It's let's make America less American. That is what the left wants. That is what liberal college professors want. They want to do anything they can to erase history and to erase every shred of patriotism. I think that's what happened in Europe. I think it's still happening in Europe. And if we're not careful, it's going to happen here. But luckily, we have a president that's going to stand his ground, and you have Americans that are going to follow him and follow his lead.
Okay. I don't know if folks have seen this, but it is our Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos. She was at Harvard. She was greeted by a number of protesters who held up white supremacist sign, at least one of them right there. What do you think about that? What are those kids at Harvard saying?
That's the go-to, though. If you look at the resistance, as they call themselves, that's what they do. They use identity politics and they use labels to try to silence people. It's disrespectful. And the go-to label being a white supremacist, when you really throw that out willy-nilly and you just don't care who you call that to, that actually makes the country safer for actual white supremacists, because it's, oh, if you throw us all in that basket of deplorables, then you really can't separate the true white supremacists from those of us who are just conservative. What is going on? It's so disrespectful, but, you know, I wouldn't put it past any liberal university.
Right now.
Of course it is, and it's a losing one.
Well, speaking of disrespectful, this is also going on. A librarian rejects the First Lady Melania Trump's gift of a Dr. Seuss book to an elementary school because they're racist. They say send the book somewhere else.
Isn't that amazing?
Green eggs and ham.
It's amazing.
One of my favorite childhood books of all time.
They would rather put the children at a disadvantage than accept a gift from the First Lady because she's a Trump. It's amazing. They really are putting their own hatred above the country, above their students, above what's good for everyone.
This week, Alabama had an election, and they had Steve Bannon's candidate win over Donald Trump's candidate. And some have speculated this is the beginning of somewhat of a civil war on the right. Do you sense that? An establishment, maybe the Jeff Flakes of the world, John McCain's of the world, as opposed to Judge Moore?
We're going to see so much more of this. The establishment can't hide anymore. They really cannot, and they have to do something. That's the biggest thing. It's not being pro-Trump or anti-Trump or a never-Trumper. I don't care about any of that. I want you to be a conservative. I want you to do what we sent you there to do. Get something done. What Donald Trump is having to turn to the Democrats now and have to work with them because our own party refuses to, that says something. They're no longer going to be safe.
Now, you are working as a Fox News contributor, and you're online at foxnews.com doing what?
Boy, Final Thoughts. It's the new home for Final Thoughts. So I think that my voice is being heard loud and clear. I know Michelle Obama thinks that because I didn't vote for Hillary that perhaps I don't have a voice, but oh boy do I.
So where can people find you?
Well, right now, foxnews.com, Fox News Insider, that's where the home of my Final Thoughts. And we put them on my Facebook page as well. So all my fans that know me from Facebook, we share them there too.
Welcome to the family.
Thank you so much. Good to be here.
Good to have you here. All right, let's go over to Jillian for some other headlines we were following. Happy Friday, Jillian.
Happy Friday.
And National